Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Talk with Casey and JoJo. What's up, Casey?
What's up, JoJo?
We are going to talk about Mercury retrograde. That might mean something different to everybody. I know that when he hears it,
I don't like it.
Most people don't like it, but when he hears it, it triggers back to a time when I was very indecisive and I couldn't make any decisions while Mercury retrograde. And I think that really kind of just stuck with you, because now every time I mention it's Mercury retrograde, now that I have learned to really enjoy Mercury retrograde, you still have this negative connotation kind of attached to it with
Well, because every time I ask, just like that's Mercury retrograde, I can't make any decisions right now.
yeah, but I mean, I think we
What?
need to let that shit go
You
now.
hear that? You hear that shit 7, 8 times in a row, and it tends to leave a
7 or 8
sour
times in a
taste.
row sounds like 2 years of Mercury retrograde. So
That's what it felt like.
we have about 3 or 4 times a year when Mercury seems to go backwards, as in the way that it looks is that it's going backwards. So Mercury is the messenger. It is also ruling the house of Gemini. And what's very important about this one is that we are in the middle of an eclipse portal. And when I say portal, I mean a wormhole. That's what it feels like you're being squished through a wormhole, and you're going from, one eclipse, which we just went through in Taurus on whenever that was. It was a solar eclipse. And then this coming up lunar eclipse that is going to be in, I believe, Scorpio, and that is very strong emotions. So we're in that in-between stage, and that has a lot of impact in our energy. But at the same time, you add the fact that we have this transformation period, this wormhole, and we have Mercury retrograde while going through Gemini, it's like ruling planet. It tends to magnify everything. So let's talk a little bit about what this does.
I wonder how many people actually understood what you just said.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that it's...
I mean, if you don't understand what those things mean and how they intersect and have a relationship with one another in detail, you kind of can't really get the full message.
True. As far as scientifically, right? Like there's okay, there's some type of connection, there's some type of influence, there's some type of energetic something, right? Just like when there's full moons, right? There's the waves and the tides, right? And people act crazy and
yeah.
You know what I mean? So just like that, the electromagnetic energy that is influenced from Gemini, the constellation, plus the fact that Mercury, the planet, has this same type of energy, which is more about communication. It's the Gemini is the 2 constellations of Castor and Pollux in the sky, which are the twins. So you have a lot of that yin and yang, back and forthness, communication. This is why Mercury retrograde, when it's in retrograde, communication goes from, it's flowing to, wait, what? It's like rewinding and seeing things from a different perspective. So communication might be jumbled. I don't know what you're saying. Lots of miscommunication. There could also be a lot of delays. There could also be a lot of technology issues. So when you're looking at Mercury retrograde, yes, there's a lot of slowing down and a lot of I would look at it like the bumps in the road. What was it called?
Speed bumps.
Speed bumps. Yeah, they're there to slow you down,
you from mowing somebody down,
from going fast.
Yeah.
Because normally, and I'm going to give my book for an example. Normally, we just rush into things. We have plans. We have due dates. We're like, okay, I have a plan to launch my book June 21st, summer solstice. Here we go. Here's the date. So what do I have to do backwards, right? The editing, the formatting, the setting up the launch, etc. For the formatting of the book takes long. So there's a window there. And all this time you've planned it all out and you know the ins and outs. And then here comes Mercury retrograde and it goes, you know what? Slow down, relax. Actually, let's press rewind. Let's look back and reflect on your plans and see if this is actually still in alignment with where you want to go. Does this still fit the narrative, right, of whatever you want to make your story? Or have you gotten new insights, new epiphanies that maybe now you want to change around? So this would be a perfect time. And I knew this already. I knew that Mercury retrograde would be here. So I let this time be specifically meant for rereading it, rewriting, reflecting.
So you planned for Mercury retrograde. You just didn't go, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. Let me now respond to it or get through it or fight through it or deal with all
figure
the
out
shit
now
that's
what
coming
to
my
do.
way.
Exactly.
Nice.
So it's good to know these things ahead of time and plan them out. Like, you know, I do it all on my planner and I can see when is the full moon, when is a new moon, when is a good time to start something new, when is a good time, you know, to end something. Or when you're in the middle of a transformation and you want to transform your life and you're like, hey, I want my life coach to help me transform my life. I would pick a day that would be the transformational day based on their chart astrologically,
Right.
based on all these things.
And that's so that you're essentially not fighting energies, you're flowing with
going with the flow. Exactly.
Gotcha.
And so because I knew that Mercury retrograde was a time to slow down, I'm not going to fight like, oh, gotta edit, gotta format, gotta this.
It's
no,
exhausting, man.
It's time to reflect on what I wrote. Is this exactly the message that I wanted to put out? You know, do I want to redo my intro a couple times? Do I want to reflect on the back cover? You know, all these little things that are needed and are needed during a time where we're moving slowly. At the same time, because we're in this wormhole and this transformation, it's like we're moving slowly, but then we're being squished out fast. So it feels like we're going up and down, in and out, like our emotions are trying to go, what in the world is going on?
I'm trying to get a visual for what you just said.
You know what? I got the visual. I got the visual. Alice in Wonderland, when she's going down the rabbit hole, and she's getting big and she's getting small and she's seeing these things and she's just losing her mind. She doesn't know what's up or what's down, right? What to eat or what to drink.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
What about the scene from that movie with the people that are inside the girl? What's the name of that movie? Inside Out. What about the scene in Inside Out when they go into the 2D realm, the 2D chamber? They basically break down into 2D versions of themselves.
Right.
Same thing.
As far as
a visual, and then it spits me back out, and I'm whole again.
Okay, but what? So the wormhole. Yeah. Like I'm being sucked into something weird and I have to keep going and push through in order to get to the other side. So with Mercury retrograde, I look at it as a time to really get my meditation in, to really slow down, to really reflect on, you know, the path that I'm on and go, is this in alignment with where I want to be? For example, I had recently went from working 7 days a week, because as a content creator, entrepreneur, CEO of your own business and your life and homeschooler, you know, all this stuff.
All those titles.
There's a lot going on and writing a book, right? So I found that I didn't have any days off because I just do a lot. And because I love what I do, it never felt like work. So to me, it was just, oh no, I love what I do. I love what I do. But there's an important factor of slowing down and being able to process everything that you're doing, because if not, we get burnt out. And so I decided to go from 7 days a week to working Monday through Thursday, hardcore, give it all I got until pretty much I'm exhausted Thursday night. And then I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. And that way, those 3 days I can self-care. I can really, I think of like the momentum, right? When you stop, you're still kind of going. You don't really get to slow down. And by the time, you know, 2 days are gone, it's Monday again and you got to go at it. So those 3 days have been really handy. And so I think that doing things that put me more into alignment of, okay, this fits me better, I wouldn't come to that conclusion if I hadn't processed it, if I hadn't slowed down, if I hadn't just be still and let the messages come to me. Because if we're going, doing, how is our intuition going to be like, hey, you know what? You'd be better off with 3 days a week because you'd be way more productive and you'd use your time, more efficiently.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, the negativity, the negative aspect. I mean, we talked about this, right? Like when you're constantly pouring into other people's cups and your cup is empty, you reach a point where the pouring that you're doing in the other people's cup is not even received well, right?
Right.
It's received with negativity because you're so drained, right?
Yeah.
So here you are draining yourself, and not even really getting a benefit from all the work that you think you're doing because you're fighting that energy, that retrograde.
And this is where the masculine feminine energy kicks in, or where I can kind of like talk about it. Like that's when you do and work, you're in that masculine energy. And when I say masculine energy, I mean like taking action. The feminine energy is being still, right? And letting things just attract to the feminine. You just sit still and it comes to you.
Right.
And we don't, as a society, right, whether you're female or male or whatever, there's still a balance between male and female energies within each person, and finding that balance sometimes means stop what you're doing, relax, take a break, take this time to go with the flow, ride that wave instead of just float instead of fighting the current. Because a lot of people during Mercury retrograde are still very tunnel vision, wanting certain things and not adjusting to the flow. And so just expect a lot of things to be, the cycles to be very, how do I put this? Intense as far as going up and down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like a lot of shifting, a lot of timeline changes, a lot of letting go. We just did a live in the Love Your Life tribe. Check it out. Love Your Life tribe is a Facebook group and we do weekly lives there. And we just talked about letting go and did a sacral chakra activation to let some shit go. And, we had a lot of good, testimonials as far as feedback, as far as being able to collapse timelines and see how the patterns of when we were younger and how it affects us now in our current now, and how we can just completely change that if we become aware. And so this is the opportunity now to do that, especially because we have Jupiter. Jupiter is entering Aries, or has already entered Aries, and it hasn't done this in like 12 years. And Aries is the beginning of everything, of the cycle. So this is a very expansive energy. I know you're laughing because you now understand.
Right.
I know that look. You're like,
talk about
oh yeah, I'm prideful. I get it now.
Yeah.
But Jupiter is very expansive and it's coming into Aries. It's in retrograde, and it's like just very much like, what were you doing 12 years ago? You know what I mean? It's very much the beginning of a new cycle with a lot of passion, with a lot of energy. But you have to be patient because you're in Mercury retrograde. So it's like, this is the time to really reflect on the things that you want to start on, things that you want to achieve, but take it slow. Don't like solidify it. Just kind of put it on there. Like if you're doing a floor plan and you're trying to see how you're going to move the furniture around, you tend to cut the little pieces around and you move it because that's a lot easier than.
I'd rather just move the shit and move it back.
Yes, I know. But as like an architect or interior design, you move the pieces around and that way you can see what it's going to look like. Right now they have apps and stuff that do that. But that way you can rearrange. It's not stuck. It's not.
Nice to be pliable.
Right. And you want to be able to just go with the flow. And then as soon as this Mercury retrograde is over, it's like a rubber band effect, right? We're going back, we feel like, oh, we're slowing down, and then all of a sudden it goes forward and you're being swung right into all those manifestations, all into all those things that you were thinking about.
Yeah, and that was my question, is that, so if I understand retrograde and I'm doing all these things, right? Like I'm being pliable, I'm being, I can flow, I'm going with the flow, not against it. Then once I know we're out of Mercury retrograde, is that the time that you get a rush of ideas, or are the ideas happening, or the insights or the downloads happening during retrograde, but you're just kind of sitting on it, waiting to hit go as soon as we get to, the out of retrograde? Or is it like you come out of retrograde and then you start getting all these downloads?
So basically, because it's in Gemini, you're going to be getting a lot of downloads throughout, and a lot of reflecting. That the downloads come, you know how they are. They come whenever. So use this time to reflect. And whether you get that download while you're reflecting or after your reflection, you're either way going to be ready to go forward once it's over.
So you're basically gathering, right? It's like I'm gathering
you're
data,
reflecting,
I'm gathering information.
Maybe I'm going to change things around. I don't really like it this way. I thought I wanted it this way, but now, this is the best bet for me. I'm going to change it around.
But I'm not actually taking that action step until I'm out of retrograde.
Exactly.
For example, I'm hitting the fucking ground running. Like I'm
because
going 100 miles an hour,
if there was some type of contract, if there was some type of, agreement, you don't want to do it then, because things are kind of miscommunication, right? So you want to wait until everything is ready to go. Technology is not wonky, and you can go ahead and sign your contract when Mercury goes direct. That's why you don't make decisions during Mercury retrograde. You're still analyzing, you're still reflecting. It's kind of like, you know what, I'm not sure. I can go back and forth any minute now, so let me not make any concrete decisions.
I wonder how well a company, say Quantum Entanglement, wonder how well a company like Quantum Entanglement would do if they went into a corporation, right? Like we're talking like a trendy, like a Google or a Tesla, and they said, hey, listen, we're going to create a plan. We basically want to, sit in your business plan meeting. We want to understand your goals. We want to understand what we're trying to achieve. And then we're going to tailor your plan for the year based on the retrogrades and the astrological cycles.
Well, here's the thing. Big companies already do that.
Oh, do tell.
I'm saying big companies and people that make tons of money base everything on astrology. And those, there's a saying that it's like not millionaires, but billionaires that use astrology. They know what's up. Okay. It's the ones in between that don't. So, wake up.
So they wouldn't want us to go in and teach all the little people.
Why not?
How it works.
What are they going to do? How are they going to know?
I'm just saying, man. I mean, understanding all this and just going through this conversation, if that's truly how things work, and I'm not questioning whether they do or not, just as an if-then statement,
right?
If that's truly how things work, then it's like, how dumb, man, how dumb are we as a society? How dumb are corporations that we're blind to that, like, just timeless knowledge that would make our lives easier and make things flow better and make the cogs of the wheel, why are you laughing? The cogs of the wheel come together perfectly, effortlessly. And, we're not just banging our heads against the wall like we all tend to do, trying to, chase the carrot, chase that dollar. I was
looking for the bookmark that's cast off, tell forth the Mazzaroth in its season, right? Can you tell what is going on energetically based on where everything is astrologically in the zodiac? Mazzaroth means zodiac. And here's the thing. It's not just that. You just said something about astrology. No, wait, what did you just say?
I don't know. We might need to rewind it.
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, I said a lot of things.
No, the last thing.
Cogs in the wheels. Talking about astrology making things effortless.
Oh man, I totally forgot.
Eternal truths.
I totally went blank. Oh, I got it. I got it. So I remember when I was in Renan Fields, right? In network marketing. As soon as Mercury retrograde would come about, we would have all these glitches. Orders would be messed up. Everybody started posting, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. So people would start asking, what is Mercury retrograde? But here's a company that's huge, pretty huge, right?
Yeah.
And if you would know ahead of time that this is Mercury, you wouldn't be trying to change an entire platform during this time, because they were trying to change the platform and have like all this stuff during Mercury retrograde. Like, you don't do that.
Right. What were they thinking? So stupid.
You just don't do that.
Come on.
So things like that, you
Come on, Katie.
basically,
Was it who was it?
yeah. Let's not put names.
Shit. Okay.
But basically, you want to put your calendar, put your plans around, if it's just like you do when it's raining or thundering or whatever, you put a jacket on because you know that it's raining, and that's what you, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you do. It's so simple.
Because you know that it's raining, because you know that the clouds, right? But I'm just saying, you could tell if the clouds are dark.
I don't wear a jacket.
It might rain. Let me grab the jacket because it might rain. I can tell, right? Well, if you looked up and saw where the stars were, and you can tell based on astrology how things were going.
Like, just look up. Figure it out.
You would know that the moon is in Virgo, and that's why we're cleaning and organizing.
So I got another question for you. In your experience, because I'm not experienced enough to even answer this question. In your experience, how long did it take when you understood the power and the knowledge that Mercury retrograde and the relationship with it has? How long did it take for you to like really see it in your own life through the way things unfold? Does that make sense?
Like actually start seeing it happen or adjusting to it?
Both.
So I started learning about Mercury retrograde back in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
You need to like let that shit go.
I'm just joking, man.
Yeah. Okay. 2013, 2014. And yeah, for a couple of years, I was very, I felt like Mercury retrograde had a hold of me, had more control of me, versus now I control what I do because I understand its energy.
And how long did that take for you to get to that point? Because I mean, if I'm not, no matter what, if you're understanding what this is, but you haven't put it into practice, like for me, I want to know, like, what's that look like? What's that experience look like?
Because you have to, it depends on how aligned you are. Okay. And maybe if you need more alignment, Mercury is just going to punch you in the face and be like, you know what, here, and kind of, it's like you're being dragged through a river and hitting rocks along the way, and you're just, because you're forcing it, you're not floating with it.
It's unfortunate. No defeating.
So it just depends on how much resistance you have. If you have a lot of resistance, it takes a while. I had a lot of resistance, so it took me a long time. But I think it was about 3 years ago.
Wow.
3 years ago that I started to flow with it. And then every time within those 3 years, each time we get to Mercury retrograde, I'm more excited for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you know that
it's time to relax.
And reflect.
And I'm like, I like that.
So that you can launch
the next
end of
thing.
Retrograde.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I get it now, and now I flow with it versus allowing it to knock me down.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like you said. I mean, if you hear thunderstorms and you walk outside and get in your car and then start bitching about it raining, you know, if you'd have been proactive and understood the relationship of the situation, you would have grabbed your jacket, not gotten wet, everything's good. Or
unfortunately, we don't know about these things, so we tend to, look at memes for an answer, and that's where we're at, right? But we're learning through memes, and this is why we do these things, so that we can talk about it, because it does affect us. It is very much part of our lives. Just go read Job 38, 31, 32. And that'll tell you how much we are influenced by them. So I think we should be done now, because we still have a lot to do.
Okay.
It's been a long day. Guys, if you follow us, here I am at Love Your Life _ 2281. I am doing a 24-hour documentary pretty much of, the next 24 hours, or these 24 hours since this morning till tomorrow because we have so much to do. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just listening because I didn't
So
know
I've
this.
document
I'm hearing this for the first time.
I'm documenting this.
I knew you were documenting, but I didn't know it was a 24-hour thing.
Yeah, it's for 20. I said, what can you do in 24 hours? Because if I can do all these things, including a podcast, including editing and putting it up and getting a rental car, packing laundry, doing hair, cutting, all these things, then how much can you do in 24 hours? Because I hear a lot of, I didn't have time, but what are you doing with that time? Like, that is the whole point. If I can do all this in 24 hours, what can you do?
Maybe people aren't properly motivated. Maybe we talk about that next time.
Maybe.
Proper motivation.
Maybe. Or
What
maybe they get inspired.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Inspiration, not properly inspired, not properly motivated, not filled with enough hope, not confident enough in their powers and in their oneness. There's a lot of things.
Not enough faith to know that, for example, I don't know, if I was to think of all the things that are on the clock of things that need to get done, I'd be so overwhelmed that I wouldn't be able to do it. But I have faith that the God within me knows exactly what to do to find the shortcuts to get this shit done. Yeah. And so I rely on that. And I'm like, you know what? Shit's going to get done. I rely on my intuition. It's going to tell me exactly what to do. Chop, chop. And we're doing it.
Yeah, so that's a skill. That's a skill.
Yeah. And you develop it over time for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think that people, anything that's not for the betterment or for, like spending quality time with your family or something like that, or, a significant other, like anything that you're just kind of shutting your brain off. And that's mostly television, a lot of music, video games for sure. Like, it's nothing. It's just a complete waste of time. And I'm guilty as shit of that. Like I play video games quite a bit, but it's a distraction and it's meant to be that way, right? It's meant to distract you from all the things we're talking about, from understanding the master plan, right? Not the master plan according to Warren Buffett, or just elites.
What is your purpose
here? The master plan that in order to understand it, know it, and discover it, you have to go within. You have to understand the Mazzaroth. You have to understand Mercury Retrograde so that you can be the most bountiful and energetic human you can possibly be. You're going with the flow, not going against it, right? So yeah, all that shit's just a distraction. It's a distraction. So hard to get out of the distraction though.
Hopefully you'll be inspired. We're out of here.
Yeah, it got boring real quick when I started talking.
No, you're just like kind of tired.
No, I'm not tired. It just makes me sad that like we have all these distractions. Because there's an infinite knowledge out there that people could learn and apply in their lives. But let's go watch Friends.
Peace.